I was thinking the other day, I mean, really just kind of thinking to myself as I had a bad experience, with a situation. And basically with this bad experience, what it caused me to think was I can't be the only one that feels like customer service has gone out the window. I mean, I can remember a time when I was younger, and I know we all got these stories, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. I can remember a time when I was younger where going to certain places, even fast food restaurants, part of the experience was the customer service. Like when we used to get the little box with the golden M on top of it, y'all know what I'm talking about. With the food in it that may or may not be laced with something. I don't know. I don't know what they put in that stuff, but man, when we were kids, we just couldn't get enough of it. We begged for it even. But part of that experience was not just getting that little box, knowing that there was a toy inside. It was also the customer service experience. Seeing young adults or people that I thought at that time were definitely young adults, because I didn't really think along the lines of like teenager and all that stuff. I just knew, hey, you were a kid and then you were a young adult and then you were an adult. And that was my worldview on it until I actually became a teenager and realized that's a whole nother situation. But I remember seeing these teenagers mostly, but young adults, and thinking to myself, wow, I can't wait to be that. Look how professional they are. I mean, from the dress, because they it seemed like at that time people took more pride in wearing the uniform, right, and looking good, but then also presenting themselves professionally. Hey, welcome to wherever. Can I take your order? Or can I help you? Or how may I serve you? Like, it was like, wow, they're doing something that I can't do as a child because, well, I'm not mature enough yet. And I'm watching them do something. I'm like, well, this is amazing. Like, this is going to be something that I look forward to as I grow up. Now, right now, give me the toy out of the box and let me play. But I noticed these things, even especially as I grew and became, preteen, teenager. It's like, okay, yeah, I can't wait to take that next step into adulthood and actually be a professional at something. And take pride in something other than, something I colored or some grade that I got on a test or something. I remember my mom, she used to make sure that I took pride in turning my work in. That was something that, it still sticks to me to this day because I was able to create standards, even within myself when it comes to certain things. She's like, turn in something that you would want someone to look at and say, wow, that's Marcus. That's his stuff. So you don't want the paper to be all crumbled up and someone's trying to read that and you got, spaghetti stains on it and whatever else you might have been eating. No. You want to actually have a presentable paper that you're turning in. And even if the grade is not great, I bet you that your teacher will respect you just that much more because the fact that you respect your own stuff, you respect yourself. What happened to that? I mean, who's to blame even? Do we look at the managers, the management? Is the manager's fault because they no longer have a standard of professionalism in most places? So it's not being taught, they're not being trained? Or can we honestly be real with ourselves as parents and say, maybe we're not giving the best example of these things along the way. So we raising bad kids and then we sending bad kids to a job to become bad employees. Now, listen, I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but I say it like this. It's hard to get your toes stepped on if it's not actually something that you might need to work on. Unless you're getting offended for someone else, which I don't understand. I mean, the only way you step on my toes is if they're in the way, But I see a whole lot of people dancing on behalf of other people. Now I'm like that when it come to babies and and people with disabilities and stuff like that. Like, because, anybody that can't really defend themselves, yeah, I might get like that. But otherwise, but anyway, I don't want to get too far off on the tangent. I say this because, as far as the parenting thing, because I know what my parents instilled in me. And I'll use myself as an example as far as being a parent. Like, one thing that I teach my teenagers as they go into the workforce is there are 3 things that I won't tolerate because I haven't tolerated them with you being in my house. So I'm not going to tolerate them with you being outside of my house and you going on a job. Laziness, we're not going to tolerate you being lazy. Nastiness, we're not going to tolerate you being nasty. And rudeness, we're not going to tolerate you being rude. You don't get to be that at home. You don't get to be that at school. You're not going to get to be that on somebody's job either. You're just not. Not while you're in my house. I'm going to train you the right way. Now, when you become an adult, if you want to all of a sudden develop habits of laziness, rudeness, and nastiness, then that is something that you take upon yourself as an adult. But you cannot say that you weren't trained the right way as far as out of the household. Now, I will hope then that managers will back that up and actually have a standard of professionalism and customer service that parallels or maybe even supersedes what you were taught at home. And then maybe you become an even better and even cleaner and even stronger work ethic. Maybe you become more of a polite and professional person. And I'm not going to argue with that at all. But see, I understand that if you're not lazy, you're not going to call out for just any old reason. It's got to be a medical emergency or some real issue for you to miss work. You're going to always put your best foot forward. And you're going to have a good work ethic. You're not going to pin the workload on somebody else or hide in the corner anytime you can or cut corners anytime you can because you're not lazy. If you're not nasty, then you're going to show up to work with a nice clean uniform. You're not going to smell like you already did 4 or 5 hours before you even hit the clock because you're wearing the same stank shirt and you didn't wash it. Like, we're not about to do that. Stains all over because you didn't wash it. We're not going to wear Wednesday and Thursday into Friday and Saturday. We're not going to do that. You're going to wash your hands when appropriate. And you're going to have a personal appearance that say, take me serious because I take myself serious. And then you're not going to be rude because you're going to treat every person the same way you want to be treated, with the same standard that you want to be treated. And that's how you're going to approach people. And that's how you're going to approach authority and those that you want respect from. I feel like if that's what I'm giving my children, then that's what they're giving society. But also, they're showing society, hey, this is what I demand in return. And yeah, I also teach them that you're not always going to get it back and you're not always going to be in the best position to give it the way you want to. But that has to be your standard with everything. So yeah, it could be our fault as parents if we're dropping the ball when it comes to not really instilling the right things in our children to present the right type of customer service for the young people. But now there's some old heads out there too that are still rude and nasty as well. And not everybody has been raised wrong or not raised right and doing the wrong thing. Like, no, you just have some people that become nasty adults, rude, lazy adults. And it wasn't because they didn't have good people that tried to give them the right things. So then that's when I got to slide over to that management side and be like, hey, what's going on here? Why don't we have a standard? Now, COVID messed a lot of stuff up. I get that too. But once again, why do some people still have these strengths, these characteristics, and even stronger, some of them? And why are others falling by the wayside? I mean, I can't be the only one that had this question when it comes to customer service. And I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I really don't. I really don't. There are a lot of excuses. I mean, I guess you sell me anything and expect for me to buy it. Okay, whatever. But that's not how I'm wired. So I'm not just going to take any excuse. Like, I'm just trying to understand how we got here. And then what can we do to get back to a place where you can at least take pride in what you do when you do it, even on a scale of, minimum wage and all that stuff. I understand people are not getting paid the value that they are. Rarely do you be on a job where you're actually getting paid your value, your worth. Even an entrepreneur, when they're first starting out, they're not getting what they're worth. They're having to put in a lot of work to try and get there. But people aren't just showing up and like, hey, man, I know you're worth more than this, so I'm going to pay you more than what the market value is for your product or your service. That's not how the world works. But it's just something about when I show up somewhere and somebody just seems like they want to be there. Because trust me, there's nothing worse than you showing up to a place and you expecting to get some type of customer service and you getting that I don't want to be here-ism. I don't want to do this ism. And you're like, good gracious. Like, I understand you might not like your job, but I shouldn't pull up and be able to read it just off the bat. I mean, pull into a drive-through window and somebody talking in the talk box. Yeah, what you want? Because see, what I believe is, yeah, what you want leads to, yeah, this is what you're going to get. Some people might be cool with that. Some people might be like, look, man, the only thing I want you to ask me what I want. I want to tell you what I want. Give me what I want and I'm gone. Hey, and if that floats your boat, that's cool. But for me, that's what you want leads to this what you get. And I'm not cool with that. Especially considering the fact that my dad taught me a little better than that. And I appreciate him for it. Now I'm teaching my sons, my daughters, and hopefully they appreciate me, and we'll do the same thing. But it's something in there. It's a disconnect somewhere, and I just don't understand. So I'm trying to see if I'm the only one that feels that way about customer service. Now this segment of the series of As One podcast, this is just particularly me, and I may be on my soapbox 110%, but I have a lot of things that I'm asking the question. I'm just saying I can't be the only one. I can't be. I mean, it's a statement, but it's a question all at the same. I can't be the only one. And there's a lot of things. I just chose to start with customer service because it's one of those things that's been on me for a while. I mean, I honestly started to do a documentary and just go around secretly, getting footage of some of the craziness. I pulled up one time to a drive-through window, and I kid you not, this really happened. Young lady was on, this had to be the company phone unless she walking around with one of those cordless cell phones, And she's sitting in the drive-through window on the cordless phone talking to someone, and I know it wasn't a customer because of the way she was talking. Now they got cell phones. I've actually pulled up too and got the finger because somebody was on their cell phone. The worker was on their cell phone. And I know I'm not the only one that's getting bad service and having bad experiences when it comes to customer service. And like I said, I'm on my soapbox about it. It's not that everybody's doing it everywhere, but it's enough now to where I'm like, okay, we no longer have a standard. Somewhere there's a disconnect. Like most of these places, you're starting to see the same thing. And don't go inside or look inside too hard because you just don't see that standard that used to be. And I know what you're thinking, man, bro, people recognize you off this thing. You're going to have some people spitting in your food, sliding your stuff across. I pray not. I might start wearing sunglasses and fake noses to every drive-through. But it's not that I'm even trying to bash or knock. It's just I'm really trying to understand why it seems like in some cases, not most, I won't even say most, in some cases, but enough that it's fully recognizable that the customer service is not where it needs to be. It's like people don't take pride in what they're doing anymore. So maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. Nah. I can't be the only one. But what do we do about it? As a man of God, there's a standard that I have in my life, and that's the standard that I teach my children. That's why I teach them about not being lazy, not being rude, and and having professionalism, not being nasty. That's why I teach them about those things, because I tell them, do everything as unto the Lord. That's the highest standard that you can have. And that's the way we approach things in our life. And I know not everyone has the same faith and shares the same vision when it comes to that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there's something about presenting things in a way where you present a standard and you're saying, this is the mark that we're trying to hit. And anything that falls short of that mark needs to be evaluated so we can figure out why we missed the mark. Because it is a reflection on you when you're professional, when you're clean, when you're neat, when you present yourself in a way that says, hey, take me seriously. Yeah, I know I'm not doing anything but taking your money and bagging your food, but you're going to take me seriously. Why? Because you are somebody. Take what you're doing seriously, because it's going to be a trait and a characteristic that follows you in everything that you do. People are going to have to see you. They're going to have to acknowledge you. You're going to see yourself in positions where you get to come up. People, they're going to pick you out of a crowd because you're going to stand out for the right reasons, not because of ratchet, ghetto, lazy, immature, none of that stuff, but because you are a professional, because you have a standard about yourself, the way you carry yourself, to say, yeah, I may not be doing the most glamorous job in the world, but y'all gonna see me. Y'all gonna know I'm here. First of all, I'm the flyest one in here with this little emblem on my chest or on my hat. Yeah, that's swag and all that too, all that, You glowing in the midst of the darkness, or whatever you want to say, however you want to say. I won't get too deep with it, but you know what I'm saying. You standing out. There's something about that person. That used to be the thing, man. For real. I had people that I used to work alongside when I first started working in the restaurant. I didn't do a whole lot of fast food, but the restaurant, yeah, I was in the restaurant hot and heavy through my school years. And I can remember us kind of almost fighting to get the best customer service. He hold the door. You know what? Let me grab those bags for you. Yeah, that's right. Because we take pride in being good young men, I guess you could say at that time, presenting ourselves in a way that say, yeah, see me and take me seriously. And I care. I care about what I'm doing. And I care about this interaction. Now, was every customer deserving of that? Man, no, not even a little bit. But what I quickly realized is that it wasn't about them. Each and every time I showed up to work or to give some type of service, I showed up on behalf of God and myself. And that's what I was representing. I also was representing my parents and other people in my family and people that invested in me. So I took pride in doing the best that I could do when it came to all that. Still happens to this day. Even when it comes to small stuff like raising my kids and volunteering for stuff at school. The integrity piece, which is doing the right thing when no one's looking. I still take pride in that. But once again, I know everybody doesn't do the faith thing, but that's my highest standard. I do it as unto God. I teach that to my children. I don't know how we got to where we are when it comes to service, customer service and all that. I don't know how we got here. I just hope that it doesn't get worse before it gets better. And I had to ask this question because I definitely want feedback from everybody. What's your opinion on it? Am I the only one? And if I'm not the only one, how do you think we should fix it? Do you think there's anything to fix, or are all your experiences great? And once again, I'm just the only one or one of the only ones, I guess. But I'd love to hear your feedback on it. And now I'm going to take this time to get off my soapbox, and I'll be on there another time asking the question / statement. I can't be the only one trying to figure out what that next thing is. and then asking you guys your opinion on it as well. Because hey, I don't want to be the only one. But until next time, God bless. Peace.